I'm going to do some quick introductions, and then we're going to have a reasonably quick chat about Densify's journey to become a SaaS software vendor. I'm Chuck Tatham. I run marketing and business development. Why don't you introduce yourself and what your team is responsible for?
Sure, I'm VP Operations and Support. We look after the infrastructure, operations, support, and security of our SaaS offering.
So 3 years ago, 3+ years ago, we decided that it was important strategically to become a SaaS delivered version of our value proposition. And this was a very big step for us, a very big initiative, one that not everyone is successful at doing, and some have certainly failed. Why don't you talk about that time period and the decisions we made and how that all went?
Sure. So prior to the migration to SaaS, we were a typical on-prem enterprise software. Through the delivery of the services and support of that offering, we realized that the industry direction of SaaS made a lot of sense. It allowed us to increase our value to our customers. It allowed us to take ownership of the stability, the security of the offering. And by making it a single tenant SaaS offering, we were able to meet a lot of the complex demands that some of our largest customers have for us.
Because we have very large customers, large financial institutions and such, and sometimes they're concerned about consuming SaaS software, right?
Yeah, in addition to their scale, so tens of thousands of VMs, cloud instances, upwards, to the point of 100,000 in some cases. There's obviously the security concerns and availability, stability of a SaaS offering for their needs.
Right. So maybe take us through that initial move and some of those experiences.
Yeah. So initially we did a lift and shift, like a lot of our own customers do. A lot of companies going to cloud, take an existing application, migrate it. And the challenge with that, of course, is that cloud is amazing, but it's really only going to be amazing if you can take advantage of the elastic infrastructure.
Right.
So in our case, that initial move, we moved our Windows-based monolithic application to the cloud and didn't really see a lot of savings opportunity or benefit from that side of it. The stability, the security, the ability for us to increase the value to our customers was there.
It enabled us to go and make that shift quickly, however, right?
Exactly. But yeah, we couldn't really take advantage of the elasticity that the cloud brings, which is its true benefit, right? When we were still running a monolithic application.
Right. So in comes the decision to look at different architectures and ways of hosting the same functionality for our customers. What were some of those considerations and decisions?
Yeah, so one of the biggest things for us was the agility and taking advantage of that elastic capacity. I have a slide here that I can share with you. So as I mentioned, the original architecture was that monolithic application. We did it as a lift and shift to achieve the SaaS offering. But a lot of what we do, as most of our customers would know, is the analytics. It's the processing of all that utilization data, the business and other information, and coming up with the recommendations. Most of that is done in that overnight analysis window. And what we were finding was we were getting these virtual servers, and half and sometimes more of the infrastructure was being reserved just for analytics. So as we looked at containers, as we looked at ways of re-architecting the application, we realized that we could free up a lot of that captive infrastructure and allow us to take advantage of the elasticity that the cloud brings. So what we ended up with was an architecture where we had an analysis service on the back end, and that analysis service would start out with a bare minimum number of replicas. As the audit data from the cloud or on-prem virtual environments would come in, we could scale up that analysis service to meet the demand. And that had two benefits. One, we could be very agile with what we analyzed. We could scale up on demand. But at the same time, we freed up that infrastructure that had been dedicated before, would have sat idle for 24 hours a day when it was only needed for 6 or so.
And all of this is reasonably portable the way you've built it, correct?
Yeah, so we, after we made the migration to SaaS, we ended up hosting a multi-cloud for a variety of business reasons. But having 3 different CSPs, we needed an architecture that was going to be portable. So going native Kubernetes, taking advantage of the managed Kubernetes offerings from the CSPs, whether that's GKE, EKS, or IKS, allowed us to have a portable application, but take advantage of what each CSP had to offer.
So speak about what you think some of your biggest wins were in all of this. What are some of the byproducts of having made this move?
Yeah, so I think the biggest win is the agility that comes from being able to take advantage of the elastic capacity. Whether it be on a web front end or an analysis service back end, we're no longer constrained by an instance size. The process that we had before was a bit more manual, required more manual processes like telling somebody, hey, I'm going to bring in more instances, and an ops team on the back end resizing virtual servers. This doesn't require any of that. We can scale based on demand, and that gives us a huge, operationally, a huge advantage compared to what we had before.
For sure.
I definitely live the cost, the tension between cost and maintaining that availability and the performance of the application. CEO, CFO are often looking for ways to reduce cost, but at the same time, my real contract is with the users, our account teams, our end customers, and I need to be able to maintain that availability. And this re-architecture has given us a way to accomplish both. Improve the agility.
You really live the life of our customers. You are exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to that end, we had a name for the containerization project internally, as you well know, D3, which was the concept of eating our own dog food. D3 being Densify with Densify. And that was another win for us too, being able to use Densify to analyze our infrastructure. On the cloud side, being able to see a lot of the savings that our own customers do in optimizing the cloud infrastructure. But on the container side, being able to get recommendations and resize so that I can maintain that availability and that performance while appeasing those who want to see costs being lower.
Now, there had to have been a few challenges. What were some of the bigger challenges you had to deal with, you and your team had to deal with?
Yeah, so one of my wins was being able to use Densify for analytics, but that was also one of my challenges early on. When we were doing the re-architecture, some of the analytics that I wanted or needed were still being built in our own product. So I started meeting regularly with our product management teams and working to get the analytics that we needed to do our own optimization and resizing. Early on, we did a lot of those changes manually, looking in the product, seeing what it looked like, comparing it to Grafana, the data that we're getting from Prometheus, and making sure we were comfortable with the changes, making the changes, and gaining confidence with what our product was producing as results. Later on, started to automate using Slack and automatic ticket creation. We have an automated a CI/CD workflow that automates a lot of these changes for us. So our homegrown DevOps orchestrator will pull a lot of those recommendations from Densify, update the configuration, and then using Jenkins, Terraform, and Helm, we can deploy those changes back to the production environment. So a big win for us now, but that was a challenge for us early on. We did a lot of what our customers do, which is resize. Pretty much everybody resizes early on to maintain performance and availability. But being able to get that to the right size was obviously a challenge early on.
Now the Densify analytics and the optimal answers are just part of the way you manage this infrastructure embedded in the process.
Yeah, early on, a lot of our DevOps team was trying to figure out how do we create profiles, like a small, a medium, a large profile. Just trying to size based on the customer size or things like that. When we made the switch to using the automated answers, it became a lot simpler because now we can size things discretely, irrespective of creating these t-shirt sizes, I guess, similar to what you would see within an AWS. But we were able to then say this analysis pool is going to get a different size than that analysis pool, because we were able to look at the actual historical utilization and make sizing decisions based on real data, as opposed to trying to size in some more abstract way.
Just like our customers. Andrew, you're a busy guy. Thanks for taking the time and walking us through this big shift. It was great to see.
No problem. Yeah, and if Chuck, if we have any customers that are going through similar things, either with or without Densify, I'd be more than happy to chat with them and share some of what we've been doing.